My name is Daniel Mercer, and back in 2022, I was working the overnight shift at a small Shell gas station just outside of Columbus, Ohio. The place sat right off State Route 33, far enough from the city that after midnight, traffic basically disappeared. Most nights were painfully quiet. You'd get the occasional trucker or someone grabbing energy drinks, but between 2 and 4 a.m., it usually felt like the world had just stopped. I'd been on that job for about 4 months when this happened. It was a Tuesday night, technically early Wednesday morning, and I remember checking the register clock. It was 2:17 a.m. I was already counting down the hours until my shift ended at 6. That's when the front door chimed. A man walked in slowly. At first glance, nothing about him screamed danger. White male, maybe mid-40s, average height, wearing a dark baseball cap and a gray zip-up jacket. His hands were buried deep in his pockets. I gave the usual cashier nod and said, "How's it going?" He didn't respond. Not super unusual for night shift, so I didn't think much of it. He started walking the aisles, slowly. Not browsing, just moving. One aisle, then the next, like he was killing time. After about 30 seconds, I realized something felt off. He hadn't picked up a single item. Not a drink. Not chips. Nothing. He just kept walking. Then he stopped near the back refrigerator section and just stood there, facing the counter, facing me. I sat up a little straighter and called out, "You need help finding anything?" No answer. He just stood there for another 5, maybe 6 seconds. Then he gave this small smile. Not friendly, not rude, just strange. And without saying a word, he turned and walked straight out of the store. The door chimed again. And that was it. I remember feeling mildly weirded out, but nothing serious. Night shift gets plenty of odd people. After a few minutes, I went back to scrolling on my phone and honestly forgot about him. For about 20 minutes. Then the door chimed again. I looked up automatically, and my stomach dropped. It was the same guy, same cap, same gray jacket, same hands shoved into his pockets. But this time he didn't walk the aisles. He stopped just inside the entrance and stared directly at me, not moving, not blinking, just standing there like he'd been frozen in place. I felt that slow, uncomfortable pressure building in my chest. The kind you get when your brain starts quietly telling you something isn't right. Trying to keep things normal, I said, "Hey, you find what you were looking for earlier?" Nothing. The guy took one slow step forward, then another, not toward the shelves, toward the counter. That's when I noticed something that made my skin crawl. His hands were still in his pockets, but the right pocket was stretched downward, like he was gripping something heavy inside it. At this point, my heart was definitely beating faster, but I didn't want to overreact. Company policy was to stay calm and keep interactions normal. So I asked, "You paying for something tonight?" He finally spoke, very quietly. He said,
"You're here alone, right, Daniel?"
The second he said my name, every hair on my arms stood up. I had never seen this guy before in my life. My name tag was turned slightly sideways that night, half covered by my hoodie, and there was no way he could have read it from where he was standing. I didn't answer him. I just stared, and that's when he slowly smiled. Not wide, not friendly, just enough to make my stomach twist. He tapped the counter lightly with one finger and said, almost casually,
"I'll come back when it's quieter."
Then he turned, walked out the door, and disappeared into the dark parking lot. I stood there for a solid 10 seconds without moving. Then I immediately locked the front door, something we were technically not supposed to do during open hours. I called my manager right after that and told him exactly what happened. He told me to stay in the back office for a bit and said he'd check the security cameras remotely. About 2 minutes later, he called me back, and his first words were, "Daniel, are you messing with me right now?" I said no. He went quiet for a second. Then he told me something that still bothers me to this day. According to the cameras, the man never came back the second time. The footage showed him leaving the first time. But after that, the front door never opened again. I finished my shift in the locked office that night, and I never worked another overnight shift after that.